Hey y'all, welcome to Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. And hey, ladies, in this space, we are the Black Coffee, and our lips drip with honey, and sometimes we got a little bit of grit. We've got sass class and all that ass, and we are here with Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. And we have a hot coffee topic today. We're going to be talking about how to hold space for someone when you really just don't have the capacity. So we're just going to talk about that as real women having real conversations. And I'm going to go on and introduce myself. I am Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer, all the things. And I am 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. And I'll pass it on over to you, Jamika. The mic's yours.
Hey everyone, I am Jamika Anderson. I'm CEO and owner of Harmony and Power Institute, where I help women and children who lack confidence and clarity achieve harmony and power within themselves so that they can create the life they truly desire. Of course, I also am 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Listen, I'm just here to have fun and look and razzle dazzle. So I'm passing it over to you, Maisha.
Fun and razzle dazzle. Hello, everybody. My name is Debbie Maisha, and I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist. I am a teacher of sensual feminine energetics and sacred sexuality for women who are ready to align with their unique sensual expression, their power, and their confidence so that they can create orgasmic lives in and out of the bedroom. And below me, like the Brady Bunch, is Shelly.
Okay. Hey, you guys from New Jersey. Shelly A. Carter, cross-licensed real estate professional with real estate banking and life insurance licenses. I like to tell people that I'm here to help you find, fund, and protect the future of your dreams. That is it. I have a bigger mission, but it is something that we will talk about another day. Carmel?
Hey, I'm Carmel Jean-Francois out of the New York City area, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching. I work with women over 40 on their health and wellness goals, and I do that by way of fitness and nutrition. I help clarify a lot of the confusion around fitness and nutrition as it pertains to you as an individual. My goal is so that every woman that I work with feels healthy, sexy, yeah, empowered, strong, inside and out. So I want to say, check out my YouTube channel, and I'm complete. Back to you, Dr. Jamesia.
Thank you. So, all right, so let's just get it started. We're talking about holding space. So first of all, for me, when the conversation came about, it was kind of like, I sometimes do not have the capacity to be there for everyone or anyone because sometimes I just need to hold space for myself. And so when I think about holding space, which to me here recently is a newer topic, a concept, or whatever, there's so much stuff that comes about that we try to define and talk about. So holding space to me is actually just providing some support or empathy, understanding, or just an ear to somebody who might need it. Um, but sometimes it's heavy and it's too much to hold. So I guess want to ask the question to you all, how do you, because there are some people who we have a special extra bit of oomph or space for. So I'm going to start with you at the bottom, Carmel. How do you hold space for someone when you really just don't have the capacity? What are your thoughts on that? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was finding the mute button or the unmute button. How do I hold space when I really don't have the capacity? I find myself letting the person speak, being a sounding board, and not not really taking it in, absorbing it, doing a lot of the uh-huhs, because I find that people sometimes need a chance to speak. If I care about that person, I don't want to turn them away. Oftentimes I will just kind of like let it gloss over me. And in the end, ask them, how do you feel about what just happened, what just transpired, what you just told me about? How do you feel about that? And guide them in another direction. But I try not to absorb, especially if I don't have the capacity, because I've done that before where I find myself after that phone call, making a phone call to somebody else and says, I have to unload because somebody just unloaded onto me. I feel like I've gotten to a space where I can actually say, now again, these are the people that I care about, that I can let it gloss over me and understand that sometimes all they need is to speak. I was speaking to my sister the other day and she was unloading to me. That day I had the capacity. So I'm listening and I'm asking her, I'm trying to kind of like understand where she was coming from. I was like, well, why did that happen? And why did that situation even fall into your lap? And she was just kind of like, you know what, forget it. And I was just like, no, I don't understand why you said forget it. She's like, because I was asking too many questions where all she wanted to do was just unload. So I know some people, all they just want to do is hear themselves just say it and speak it. And I don't necessarily have to listen. For somebody that I don't care that much about, and if I don't have the capacity, I will cut them off and to get to the point. And if they feel like they need to unload a little bit more, guess what? They're going to find somebody else that's going to listen and engage. If I don't engage, they're going to find somebody else that will engage. But again, to answer your question, Dr. J, I think I've developed this skill to let it gloss over me, let them speak, and then continue on with the conversation. So I yield.
That's good. That's good. I like the fact that you're able to let them speak and just let it not absorb, not let that attitude or that tension or anxiety jump on you. For me, I've actually developed a little bit more self-awareness as to trying to honor my own emotions, my energy level, my limitations, and just recognizing when I don't have the capacity and being honest about it and not feeling guilty about it. But like you said, there are those people who you allow to do it and then let it gloss over you. So I like that you are able to do that. I don't feel like I'm fully there yet, but I am working on, different aspects of it because I used to be a serial people pleaser. So everything and everybody, come on. So, but yeah, so thank you, Carmel. Shelly, I'll ask you the same question.
You said serial people pleaser. I think that I had that stamped on my shoulder somewhere. For me right now, the real life examples are, Carmel said, if you care about the person, right, you act a particular way, but I can still care about you and say, okay, listen, here's how I'm able to hear you. And I believe that is for some people annoying. I know specifically for a couple of people, it's annoying, but I need you to tell me the story backwards so that I can understand what we're talking about and be able to listen to you. Don't tell me the part where you entered the park. Tell me somebody stomped on my foot today and I'm frustrated about it. And then like, okay, now I get, so this is the injury. Now tell me what led up to the injury. I really have to navigate the story that way. Otherwise, I'm really not listening. They will talk. And at the end of the conversation, I might not know more than a few words of what they've said. In other spaces, I've just turned them off. I say this over and over again, and not in a way to punish, but to protect myself, to protect them from me. I am human. And I believe that if you push someone into a corner, you back a tiger or a lion into a corner, they're gonna pounce eventually. So for me, it has been I can give you a real life story of someone calling me upset over something. And I said, okay, so listen, I have no intentions of disrespecting you in this conversation. So I want you to tell me what you think. I'm going to sit here and listen now. And then after you're done, I will let you know how I'm going to respond. And at the end of listening to them, I set them up. I said, okay, so we don't agree. I don't choose to participate in this conversation anymore. I don't have, and I believe I said that, I don't have what it takes to continue further. So I've listened to you. I've heard your perspective. We don't agree. And I'm going to remove myself from the phone call now. I feel like I did it respectfully. I was clear. And that was it. That was the last time we spoke. And it just needs to be that way, because while you can care about people, you're not always going to see things eye to eye. And sometimes it's best to just let things go, decide to disagree, and move on as adults, and not bicker back and forth. I don't see any gain in that. So whether it's just you sharing or us being in a dialogue, that those are my ways of handling it. And I yield there.
Okay, it sounds like you establish clear boundaries, right, for yourself and for the conversation. So that's good, so that you're not emotionally drained when they're done. You like to start from the back end and work your way forward. And if you can deal with it, you deal with it. So that's good, establishing clear boundaries. So thank you, Shelley, for that. Okay, so we'll move to you, Jamika. What about you? This is your conversation, right? What about you? How do you hold space for somebody when you just don't have the capacity?
I don't. I become a whole itch with a B in front of it. I don't know.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
I'm trying. Okay, so yeah. So holding space. So a couple months ago, look, let me tell my business, because that's what I do. A couple months ago, I think in October, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and I was just expressing to her, I'm unavailable to hold space anymore. And it was and I told this to a couple friends of mine, but it was definitely needed in order for me to hold space for myself. So I am a recovering Captain Save-A-Hole. Hi, name's Jamika. And I realized over time that, over the course of the last few years, is that you can't constantly be saving people and watching yourself drown. Mm-hmm. So I had to get to a place where I learned to save myself. And every person is responsible for their own actions, their own reactions, and in the things, their decisions that they're making. What I was doing previously was I was allowing myself to make emergencies that weren't my own emergencies, but that were emergencies for other people. I would take on other people's fires and try to put it out. And then after I put it out, they would allow it to go back into smoke and go back into flames, because they weren't dealing with their own stuff. And so after realizing some of my own errors, I really learned that I did not have the boundaries that I needed, right? And so, and of course, like I say, months before that, I was on this quest of understanding what boundaries are, implementing them, embodying them, right? And the same things that I do in my program and that I help other women do is identifying what your wants and needs are, identifying what clarity you need to bring to your life in order for you to transform yourself and your life into something that you truly desire and you want to live. And so in order for me to be an individual who can help you strategize your life out and to pull you, to help pull you out of it, or to help you build or implement things that can help you save you, I had to go through my own adjustment. And so I realized that I was allowing myself to hold space for people who, I'm not going to say they didn't need it or anything like that, but it wasn't allowing me to be in a compassionate place for myself. And so over time, as I started rebuilding my life and getting to this lovely place that I'm in now, I realized it was all about me. And it was all about, like I keep saying, the personal choices. And so most recently I had a client who was like, I need you right now, da 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 da. And it was just like all this is energy. Because that's what people don't understand, is that when you, like what Carmel was saying, when your sister calls and she's on, and you're on the phone and you're frustrated and you're angry and you're upset, that energy transfers to me if I'm holding that space open for you so that you can dump it off, right? Mm-hmm. Or even if I'm unknowingly allowing you to do it. So of course, like I said, things happen knowingly and unknowingly. Mm-hmm. And then of course, now I'm heavy and I need a dumping ground. And sometimes you either go to someone else to dump, or you journal, or you do different exercises, you do tapping. There's a million and one things in order to get that energy off of you and out of your body. And we can talk about that later. But when my client gave all this energy, I was in the process of doing other things. I live a very busy life. And I felt bad because, just like what you guys say, certain people, you hold just a little bit more space open. You let a little sliver come through. And I was like, hey, I'm on my way to X, Y, and Z. This is the amount of time that I have. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you can do that. You can either openly say, this is how much time it is, and this is what you have to work with, or it's sorry, I can't. Like, I understand what you're going through, and I hear that you're frustrated or whatever else, but I don't have the space, and I can't make the space for you right now at this particular point, because that would be irresponsible for me. Mm-hmm. Right? It's more, I don't do anything that's going to be detrimental to me anymore. And that's one of those things to be cognizant of. And of course, people, will always make excuses like, oh, well, you're not being compassionate or empathetic, or no, I am. But what I'm doing is I'm not abandoning myself any longer to justify someone else's lack of control in their own space, in their own life. So I'll say, sorry, I can't, or I'll ask, what do you need from me before we get started? Because I need you to identify what you need from me. Do you need me to just listen? Because then maybe I can make space for that. Or do you need me to have a response because you need, guidance or someone to talk to? Or, what is it that you need? Or I would say, because sometimes people just need a cheerleader. Like, they just need somebody to hear their thoughts and repeat it to them to make sure, like, I just need you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I could be your Jiminy Cricket if that's what you need sometimes. So I get all those things, but I'm more of a solution-based person these days, because 9 times out of 10, most people know what they need to do and what they want to do. Mm-hmm. They just are afraid to do it, and they need permission to do so. And so if that's what you need from me, I'm going to give you the permission to do what you need to do. But as far as me thinking for you, I can't do that. I no longer have the capacity to think for an adult. You get what I'm saying? And I have to say that. And sometimes you have to cut people off. Sometimes you have to walk out. Sometimes you have to hang up, and it may all seem rude or, whatever else, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with being the villain in your story if that's going to make you a superhero for yourself. And with that, I'm a release the mic and I'll come back.
Okay. I feel like the main thing that I heard was you're totally self-aware, and you acknowledge and honor your own emotions, your energy level, your limitations, what you can and cannot do. And that's important that we definitely do that. There are some of us that are not exactly there, but hearing your way of doing things in this type of situation helps other women and other people to have that strategy. So thank you for that. There's this thing that my best friend and I do when we have something going on. We say, can you hold space? for me, I just want to rant. And I almost never say no to that, because I know that it's just her ego speaking and she just whatever. So, but I do like that you are self-aware and you know what, you're like, nope, not doing that. So thank you for that, Jamika. Maisha, what about you? What are your thoughts? How do you hold space? I know you were like Jamika. She said it all.
She did. She did. I don't.
Right.
So I don't answer my phone unless I actually want to talk to somebody, first of all.
That part.
Right. I feel under no obligation to pick up a phone when someone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Even my eldest daughter, I said she'll call and not leave a voicemail. And she's like, hey, I called you. I'm like, you didn't leave a voicemail. Because I'm not the one to see you call and call you back. Because, hey, you called me.
Right.
I need a voicemail. That could have been a butt dial. So if I pick up the phone, I'm prepared for whatever the conversation is. I have space. It doesn't matter what it is. I have space. If I don't have space, I'm not answering the phone. My daughter, and I can tell the business from my side. My daughter would come in, like this, like some months ago, she would come in and she would kind of just want to dump her day at 10 o'clock at night for whatever reason. And at first I was like, I'm listening because I'm small, this is, she's going through things. I'm gonna listen. And then she said something one day, whatever. And this is how, and this is my child. So if I'm doing this with my child, please understand, that's the nicest version you're going to get. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to be finished. This conversation is going someplace it doesn't need to go. And she's like, oh, okay. And that's what it is. So if I'm going to say that to my daughter, just know that anybody else, it's kind of like what Jamika said. If I'm answering my phone, I'm ready for whatever the conversation is. Otherwise, if you get my voicemail, either I'm doing something or I'm like, I'm not in the space for this, and I'll call you back. But the thing is, for most of the people that I know, like we don't call each other. Most of the people in my circles will do like Marco Polo. So, I'll have a friend that they'll leave me like messages there, video messages there, which I love that, because I can listen to your message and then it can give me time to do whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I can respond to it. So I don't do a lot of, or folks use WhatsApp, which mm-hmm. I love that, because I can listen and, have time. I don't do too much real time. We're on the phone type of, I don't, first of all, I'm not a phone person. I don't do that. So yeah, if I don't have the capacity to hold space for you, I just won't. That's the long and short of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Same. Just totally self-aware. And that's wonderful. Again, like I said, some of us are not fully, and not that we're not self-aware, but some of us are not fully to the point where we can be like, no, and no. Because for me, it depends on who it is. There's levels to this thing. There's levels to my energy. So some people I got more energy for, and kids are one. Romantic partner would be another. My best friend would be another, or my best friends would be another, because I got quite a few of those. But yeah, so that's wonderful. So I feel like this is another point where we can start wrapping it up. But what are some final thoughts and tips that we can give to other people that might struggle with, I'll say, the pressure of holding space when you just don't have it? What are some things that we can try to practice, small steps that we can try to practice to get us to the point where we can choose ourselves versus choosing others? So
I can chime in on that. I think that people need to forgive themselves for putting themselves first, because there are some people who feel guilty for prioritizing themselves, and you need to let yourself go. Let go of that.
That was good, Shelley. That was good. Anyone else?
I'd like to add something. If it might be hard for some folks, right? Because it all takes practice, and it all is kind of like, oh, yeah, I do have to respect my boundaries, but how do I do that? What does that look like? Sometimes deferring the conversation helps. I had a mentor that said when people will call him to dump and unload and complain about something, he says, "Yeah, I would love to hear what you have to say. Really, I would. Call me Wednesday at 3:35, and we can talk all about it." By Wednesday at 3:35, it's diffused. Like the person's done thinking about it, done complaining about it, probably spoke to somebody else that had time for him in that particular time of day. So I'm not saying use that exact, but saying, yeah, not right now. Let's talk in an hour. And maybe they will call in an hour, but at least it gives you that space to kind of like regroup yourself and reset your own boundary, so that in an hour when you two speak, you can say, listen, how do you want me to listen? Or I don't have time for this. Maybe you should speak to so and so, especially if this is somebody in your life that you care about, right? Anybody else, it tends to get a little bit easier for you to just say, no, I can't listen right now, and I can't entertain this conversation. So that's my tip.
That's an excellent tip. Anyone else?
Listen, because I'll be telling y'all all my business. I like Carmel's tip, but like, I don't lie, because I'm not going to tell you that I really want to hear it, because I might not. But what I will say is, listen, my schedule ain't free. I had told somebody this the other day. I said my schedule ain't free until June 6th. So June 6th, you can give me a time. I let you choose the time that you want to talk to me. They was like, June 6th? That's so far away. I'll be done dealing with this by then. I was like, well, that's good too. That's real good. But that's when my schedule opened up. Because up until that point, I'm booked, baby.
Baby.
But for both parties, for both sides of the parties, one of the things that has helped me the most, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum, you get what I'm saying? And even in relationships, so it doesn't matter what it is, it's to understand that there's you and everything that you have going on. And then there's the other individual, whoever that may be, and everything that they have going on. And then there's the two of you together. Because what people fail to remember sometimes is that just like your life is going on and you have all these thoughts, ideas, and whatever happens, the other individual may just be as busy, or their mindset is on different things. Like Maisha was saying, like, I am not just going to answer the phone for you just because you call, and you have to be okay with it. I think what happens is some people think that it's rejection, and then they internalize the rejection, and the rejection is just what it is. It's a no, and it's okay. They have the ability to say no just like you do, but don't you say yes when you should be saying no because you want them to say yes to something later. Anytime that it's a tit for tat type of situation, it's never going to end well for somebody, and more than likely it's going to be you. So don't do things where you're like, well, when they needed me, I showed up. Okay, so you should evaluate whether or not, like I told you guys before, I'm in a place where I'm doing full body yes. If it's not a full body yes, it's a hell no. So don't do something where you're like, I don't know. As soon as you say I don't know, it's a no. Because you're not in that space where you can offer up whatever it is that, whatever it is. And you're then going to be attached to some type of outcome. And our expectations we should have for ourselves, not for other people, that they should be doing something for you. It's a point of privilege. Like, you're thinking that you're privy and privileged to their life, and you don't even have control over your own. And that's one of my biggest things that I talk about the most, is people always want to control others versus controlling themselves. And you're the only person who has full control over you. Whether you give that control to someone else, relinquish it, or whether you understand that this is my control that I have and over me, my yeses, my nos, my body, my whatever, and start to train yourself. Guilt, you're going to have guilt either way. Whether you do it or you don't do it, you're going to feel some type of guilty. But are you abandoning yourself in that moment? You get what I'm saying? Are you doing something that's going to be detrimental to you. And remember, I said earlier, I'm not doing anything that's going to come off as detrimental to me and this point in my life anymore, because I've given everything I could give to people. And I found myself in a place where only I could help me. Because nobody else was available, nobody else had time, and people have a tendency to want to expect from you what they're not willing to give. So I'm no longer at a place of being the bigger person, like all these things that society tell you so that they can manage you. We're alleviating those things. We're becoming more clear in what it is that we want, what we want to do, and we're understanding that I have to make sure that I'm okay with me. I have to understand that the guilt is going to be there regardless. So, it's one of those, how they say, damned if you do, damned if you don't. It is what it is. So am I satisfied with me in my decision at this present moment? I might not be satisfied with it a week from now, a month from now. Other things may happen, you know what I'm saying? As a what is it? Cycle, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever else. That's fine for then. But right here, right now, am I okay with the no? Am I okay with me not going? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to deal with FOMO. I don't want to, whatever it is I don't want to do, I want to make sure I'm not doing it. Okay. So that's one of the things I have. So let me release the mic.
Thank you. All right. Maisha, you final thoughts?
Yeah, just no, this type of situation is a good relationship to evaluate, and it's a good situation to evaluate and know the relationships you're in. If you know that you have friends who only want to call you for drama, it might be time to evaluate those relationships. Is that what you're interested in? And when I say friends, I don't care if it's friend, relative, family, whatever you want to call them. Just because we are related does not mean you are entitled to my time to dump on me all the things that are happening to you in your life. I don't care if you are my brother or my sister. It's time to reevaluate the relationships that you're in and what you want those relationships to look like in your life, so you don't feel a way. The people know, it's like the phone rings, they're like, oh, you know what this gonna be. Now hold on, I gotta take this. First of all, no, you don't. Second of all, you like the drama too. And that's why you did it, right? So I think that's the first step in understanding that. Who are you relating to and with? What are the conversations around? You know what the patterns are. And if you don't like them, it may be time for you to start extracting yourself out of that, so you don't have to worry about holding space for that, or start having conversations with them, or just throw it all out and find some new folks. That's my suggestion.
Well, all right, y'all. Y'all heard it here. Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. It is okay to prioritize yourself so that you are well and safe. And sometimes you can hold space and sometimes you can't. So that is all we have today. I'm Dr. Jamesia again, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye now.